Roja Parfums is a luxury brand that many people, I feel like they've made it once they've acquired one or two. It seems like one of those brands that is unattainable for a lot of people. And it's like maybe one of those first brands like I bought my first Roja and I feel like my collection leveled up. But here's the thing. Yes, Roja is an elevated brand. It's known for luxury. It's very expensive, but there are a few gems in the line that are incredibly affordable that still deliver all the quality that the really expensive fragrances smell like. Today, we're going to go over one of the best, kind of beginner Roja Parfums. This one we're going to go over today is Burlington 1819. I know this, for me, was one of the first I ever picked up from the house. Aside from Elysium, maybe Enigma and Danger, Burlington 1819 is a pretty great next step for many people from the house. It delivers an elegant, elevated kind of citrus style fragrance, one that is incredibly classy. So, if you're a fan of Burlington 1819 and you're curious my thoughts, or maybe you haven't gotten into Roja at all and you're curious what's maybe a good first buy, stick around because I'm going to unpack this fragrance. I'm going to share some thoughts, how it smells, who it might be for. So stick around, I'll unpack it for you. So Burlington 1819 is available in a 100 milliliter bottle. This was created for the Burlington Arcade over in England. Now this retails for like 350 British pounds. I don't know the conversion. I think that's a little over 400 USD. Now you can find this pretty easily on discounters for a fraction of that. I think right now I'm finding it around, at the time of filming this, around $190. I've got links in the description below for you to use if you want to pick up a bottle. And yes, it is an affiliate link. Now, the perfumer, Roja Dove. He does all of the older stuff. He's not the current perfumers. He does some of them, and they've got some new perfumers in the house, but this one was done by him. And the scent profile is going to be that of a kind of a citrus oriental-esque fragrance. With that, let's go ahead and get into the notes. Now, here's the thing with this fragrance. The note breakdown is kind of interesting because there are no heart notes. They actually advertise it like that. And at the end of the day, folks, one thing to know about the fragrance pyramid, it's a lot of marketing. It's literally just based kind of off of what you smell right away, what falls away right away, and what lasts the longest. It's not the most important thing in the world. You can give a list of notes and it's okay, but they market this as having no heart notes, which kind of makes sense because that's how this fragrance acts. And I'll unpack a little bit more of that later. The top notes are a blend of citruses and, minty notes. These are the official notes that are marketed. You're going to have grapefruit, lime, bitter orange, mandarin, and mint. The big things you're going to smell right away. That sharp, kind of tart, bitter grapefruit note. That's very prevalent. Get a lot of that sharp, tart rind of the lime, that like really tart, juicy lime. And then a really photorealistic kind of peppermint note. I'm talking fresh out of the garden, that green, earthy mint. Not earthy, but when you smell a fresh mint leaf, that is exactly what's going on here. The bitter orange and the mandarin, very much supporting characters. The other ones are the star of the show here. And here's the thing. Whenever you see grapefruit, you see ginger, which is in the breakdown, and like other kind of citruses, you might automatically think, oh, this is going to be in the Tigar, vibrato, that kind of DNA. Ever so loosely. This was developed after Tigar was released. So there's a chance that this could be slightly inspired by that, but this goes a completely different route. But you may get that little bit of similarity because of the grapefruit, the ginger, and the ambroxan, those kind of things. But that opening lasts a while, to be completely frank. I'm shocked. And maybe an hour, we'll say. It lasts about an hour. And it could be just simply a very linear progression. This fragrance is very linear, and you smell most of it right away. The other thing you really do smell up in the opening is a little bit of cumin and a little bit of that ambergris. You get that dry, aromatic, saline kind of feel. It's not necessarily animalic, but it borders into that. But let's go ahead and talk about the base notes because you smell a lot of it right away. There are a lot of base notes. So I'm going to go ahead and just read these to you. Ginger, cinnamon, cumin, saffron, patchouli, oak moss, rum, tobacco, cedarwood, cashmere wood, benzoin, vanilla, labdanum, ambergris, and musk. We've already kind of talked about a couple of those notes. The ginger, that's here. And it's not, in my opinion, like a ginger oil that they're using, because if it was, that would be up in the top and then the heart, and it would fall away very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of an accord that has been made. Ginger is prevalent. The other thing you really smell, especially in the beginning for a little while, is that saffron. You have to really pay attention. It's there giving a hint of this really spicy, leathery note. It's subtle, but there it's kind of on the outside. It's kind of playing around on the outside. There are other spices at play here. The one that sticks out the most is the cumin. Cumin, for some people, can be a little averse. It can be a little bit of a turnoff because it can often smell a bit like body odor. And in this case, very loosely, and when you combine grapefruit and cumin, you may be thinking this is going to be a body odor bomb. Maybe sample it, but it is safe overall. Other things going on. We talked about the ambergris. It's pretty prevalent. If you've smelled much of the Creed line, you'll recognize the ambergris in this. It's very similar. Other things that are kind of notable in this. The tobacco is nice. It's kind of a subtle supporting character. It gives just a hint of earth. A lot of people talk about the rum. Guys, to me, the rum, I don't know. I don't pick up on it too much. But what I pick up on is all that stuff in the opening, the cashmere wood. You get that synthetic, woody, musky vibe. The ambergris, a little bit of that oak moss. It's not real oak moss. It's definitely going to be something along the lines of either a moss accord, Vera moss in that realm. And you'll get subtle bits of amber here and there from the labdanum, the benzoin, the vanilla. It's a very beautiful fragrance. It's very elegant, elevated, sharp, kind of regal, luxurious smelling. Very beautiful. It's very, very subtly sweet. It's more dry overall. This fragrance is, like I said, a great beginner fragrance because it's a simple one to get into. It takes your quintessential citrus style fragrance, but it adds a little bit of movement, some complexities, richness, boldness, while being upscale. I briefly talked about the fragrance pyramid. The fragrance pyramid is kind of a curious marketing tool. So quickly looking at, how they marketed the notes on this one. There's top notes and then there's base notes and no heart notes. And the way that this is acting kind of matches that. So a base heavy fragrance can be a little bit linear, can be very full, flat in a way, not very diffusive, moving and stuff. And it can feel, lacking maybe a bit of richness. So top notes are there for that big opening, the pop. And typically you would go right into the heart. And you have this rich fullness of the heart, and then you eventually go down into this base. But what's happening here is you have this pop and then boom. So rather than a slow transition, you're going boom to wham. And what that does is give a high impact opening, but it just immediately moves into this blend that can be linear, stagnant, we could say, not as a bad thing. Stagnant sounds bad, but really pop, and then that's what you have for the rest of the fragrance. And that's how it's always come off. To me, it's one of Roja's more linear scents, which is not a bad thing at all. It makes her a very cool wearing, a very reliable, trustworthy wearing, because you always know exactly what you're gonna get. Guys, let's go ahead and dive into our questions. So in terms of originality, I would say yes. I would kind of bring up the question, or raise the question, Is this loosely inspired by Tigar? Was this one of the original kind of clones? We know that Roja likes to do inspired by fragrances. I won't deny that. He's cloned many a fragrance. He's been inspired by many a already released fragrance, but he does it very well. I will absolutely stand by his ability to perfect or to elevate, to complicate in a way, a blend. Yeah. The age group I would say is perfect for any age. I find this as kind of a great introduction to Roja, to this house for any age, especially the younger people. This is a good way to get into an elevated style fragrance. The audience, I would say, is masculine. A woman could probably wear this, but I do think this leans very masculine with those spices at play. That's just my take. When to wear this in terms of seasons, I think this is great for all year round, but it specifically shines for me in the spring and summer. I like the life-giving elements of it, and in the summer, the light freshness of this with that rich warm base makes this for a really cool fragrance. You get a little bit more movement, a little more sweetness in the warm weather, and it performs very well. When to wear this one? You could definitely wear this as a signature scent. It's very easy to wear. I know when I first got this, it was probably my fanciest fragrance for a long time, and I felt like I wasn't able to wear it. I felt like this is too elegant, this is too rich for my day-to-day use. But then as I've worn it again recently and gotten to know, I'm like, no, like, why shouldn't I be able to wear this? Why shouldn't I be able to just have a really well-constructed citrus fragrance just whenever I want to? So wear it as a signature, wear it to the office. It's incredibly office safe. But this really shines as an elegant fragrance because of the crisp citrus at top with the warmer elements, the tobacco things, the resins, the moss, and all these elevated kind of style notes down in the base. It makes for an incredibly elegant fragrance. Would I wear it on a date? Probably not. And would I wear it to the gym? Probably not. So for me, signature, office, elegant. Those are kind of my picks. Now, the performance on this is very good. I would say the longevity, most people are going to get at least 8 hours. Some people may get 10 to 12. For me personally, 8 seems to be about the sweet spot. It's got these certain materials in there that stick around. Do they project a lot? No. So we'll talk about projection. First hour, you've got a pretty strong fragrance. And that's very typical for a Roja. It's very loud, very diffusive for the first hour, and then it quickly just goes back to a skin scent. And that is very much what's going on here. So that's how that projects. These sprays, I would recommend, I don't know, I'd probably recommend at least 4 and go up to 7. It doesn't need much more than that. You could go a little heavier, I guess, if you want to. Just get used to whatever you're wearing, get feedback from those around you. If you're wearing it to an elegant occasion, maybe don't like douse yourself in it because you want to dress appropriately. And what I mean is wear the right amount of sprays to whatever occasion. In my opinion, overspraying at an elegant occasion really takes away from the put together vibe because in a way, in my opinion, it kind of communicates, please notice me, which is a lack of security. Did not expect to go on that little tangent there. But with all that said, let's go ahead and get on to our final rating. This will get an 8.4. I think this is a very exceptional blend. It is blended beautifully. It's elegant, easy to wear, enough movement and intricacies to keep someone interested. I like the fact that this is such an easy entry into a house that is known for luxury, refinement, and exorbitant prices. When you can find a fragrance for around $200, 100 milliliter, that delivers this kind of stuff, that smells like this kind of quality, to me, that's exceptional. Is there a little more that I wouldn't mind from this fragrance? Sure. Do I know what that is? Not exactly, but maybe one day I will. Folks, if you have had experience with Burlington 1819 or simply Roja Parfums in general, what was the first one you ever picked up from the house? And do you think this is a great first buy for someone getting into the house? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, would you consider hitting that like button and join our community by hitting that red subscribe button? Folks, we'll see you in the next one. Peace.